Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing my February reading wrap up. It is crazy, like it's already March. That will send me into a spiral if I think too hard about it. This month I read a lot of thick books. I only read 8 books, but I read some thick books, and I will say towards the end of the month I've kind of been in a little bit of a reading slump. So without further ado, let's get into this. The first book that I finished this month I actually do not have a physical copy of because I listened to it. This is The Leaving by Tara Altbrando. This is a story about these 6, I believe they were kindergartners or they were preschoolers, 6 kindergarteners, oh my god, that were taken on their first day of kindergarten. They go missing and then 11 years later they show back up, and it is a thriller mystery of trying to figure out where they were and also stuff that happened to them. I can't really say much more than that or I will be in spoiler territory. I thought the concept of it was interesting, and I think maybe if I would have read the physical copy of it instead of listening to it, I would have enjoyed it more, but I give this a 2.75. It wasn't my favorite. If you're interested in it, maybe check it out. You might like it. I gave that one a chance. That had been on my Goodreads want to read for a really long time, and for some reason right now I'm really trying to go through my Goodreads want to read and my physical TBR. That was the first book that I read this month. And then I feel like I did the impossible and I finally finished the Throne of Glass series and read Kingdom of Ash. This is like a 900 and I want to say like 80-page book. It's literally like 20 pages short of 1,000 pages. That is insane. Now I will say I don't think I had the same reaction to this as most people have to Kingdom of Ash. I feel like a lot of people are crying and in tears. I can't really talk about anything that happens in this book because it's mega spoilers. It's the end of a 6 or 7 book series. I will say hey, why before every phrase that I've said about this book I've said I will say, girl, just talk. I enjoyed the tandem read more than I liked this book, but this is a very good book. I do understand the hype with Throne of Glass. I wish I would have liked this series earlier into me reading this series. I think partially why I didn't fully enjoy the series when I started reading it is just because I wasn't in the mood to read it, but I was forcing myself to. So this is why I'm the biggest advocate for being a mood reader, because that is when you read the best books, is when you're reading a book that you really want to at a mood of you really wanting to. It's perfect. The next book that I read was Wildfire. So this is the second book in the Maple Hill series, which is the series with Icebreaker, and this follows Russ and Aurora. This doesn't take place in the college, and I didn't think this one was as steamy as the first book. I think the first book was a lot more spicy. I don't like reading those scenes, so I enjoyed this book more. This takes place at a summer camp. In the beginning of the book, the 2 characters have a one-night stand at a party. They go their separate ways. They think that they're never going to see each other again, and then the next day they have their like orientation to be camp counselors and they see each other there. I really liked this plot. I liked this story. I don't know what Hannah Grace does, but she does such a good job at making all of her characters feel like different characters. All of her characters, even though they're literal just words on paper, they feel like they have separate identities and personalities, and I just have a really great time reading her books. So I am excited for the next book in the series because I'm pretty sure that's the book with the main character that is wearing the folklore sweater. This next book that I read is kind of a loaded title, but just stay with me here. So this is What My Mother and I Don't Talk About by Michelle Filgate? Don't know. I'm so sorry. I probably said that so wrong. This is a collection of stories from different writers who, yes, it is about moms and their relationships with their moms, but it covers so much more than that. This dives into parental relationships in general. A lot of these people are talking about their relationships with their dads. I can't even put what's in this book to words. I have so many quotes underlined. I think one of the most important things that we can do in our life is to learn from other people's experiences and to share our own experiences with things that we have gone through, and to just keep an open mind and an open heart with those things. I this month have really been in a mood where I want to read other people's stories and I want to learn, and this was just such a great book. I don't have a rating for this book just because I feel like if I was rating this book I would be rating people's life stories and life experiences on some really sensitive topics. I will say, if you are thinking about reading this, look into possible trigger warnings, because it does go into some pretty deep stuff that if you're not ready to read about it, it might catch you off guard. So yeah, just be wary of that if you are going to pick this up. But I had a really great time with this, and I would recommend this book to anyone who's been thinking about picking it up. I realized I did not rate these two books. Let me quick go on my Goodreads and double check my ratings. Kingdom of Ash, I gave a 3-star. Maple Hills, I gave a 4-star. Next, I read From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now, I'm pretty sure that this was actually like an OG romantasy book. I think this is absolutely like a stunning copy. I'm pretty sure this is like a limited edition cover from Target. I'm not positive about that, but this is not the cover that I'm used to seeing. This is about a girl named Poppy, and to put it like very bluntly, she's basically kept clean, pristine, virgin, pretty much to be sacrificed because she's like almost a god, whatever. I don't know how to like give synopsises of books without fully spoiling the book. Poppy ends up basically falling for one of her guards' hawk. That is not a spoiler. That is on the back of this book. I don't know how to explain this book. I'm gonna put the synopsis right here. Basically, it is a very smutty romantasy, and I gave it a 3.75. I would have given this a 4.5, maybe a 4-star, until like the last, I want to say 50 to 80 pages. There's a character who basically does like a 180 of their original character, and I did not enjoy it. Also, I don't enjoy books that are driven by smut. I don't like that being a main thing, like I've said 1,000 times at this point. So yeah. Next, I have another chonker of a book, and this is so exciting for me to finally be able to say that I've read, but I finished House of Sky and Breath, which is the second Crescent City book. I did I think it was my last video, which was a weekly reading vlog where I read this. I don't know if I'm gonna go into Crescent City 3. I right now have it waiting. I'm like in line in my library holds for Libby. I don't think I really like this world and these characters, so I don't really care for it. I am very glad that I read it so that I was able to read that scene that happens, but I don't know if it was worth reading how many pages I had to read to get to it. I gave this a 3-star, and I'm pretty sure I gave the first Crescent City book a 5-star or a 4-star when I first read it. A 3-star is still a good rating, but I don't know. I was expecting more from the book, I think. Next is a book that I feel like is going to be in everyone's February reading wrap-ups, and that is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So this book just came out this month, and this is a paranormal romance, technically. I've been hearing a lot of people say it's part of the Omegaverse, but then I've been hearing some people say it's not a part of it, so I don't fully know, but it is a romance that happens between a werewolf and a vampire. I didn't like this. Yeah, I didn't feel a connection between the characters, and let me just say, Ali Hazelwood is a 5-star and auto-buy author for me. I love every single book that she's ever written. I didn't feel the connection between the characters. It felt, again, just based off of sex, but even that, I didn't feel any bit of chemistry, so I gave this a 2.5. I feel like that is an unpopular opinion because I feel like everyone really loved that book, but I didn't get it, and I don't know what I'm missing. Yeah, if you also read this book, let me know your opinions. My camera is right now beeping at me because it's dying, but we have one more book to talk about, so hopefully I can quick speed round this. The last book that I read this month, I actually just finished today, and that is Dear Dolly by Dolly Alderton. Dolly Alderton is the author that wrote Everything I Know About Love, which I read when I was 20, and I was in a very different stage of my life. I'm right now 22, gonna be turning 23 very soon, and I read this because Dolly Alderton actually writes like columns for a magazine where she gives advice to people who basically ask her for it, and this is a collection of some of her favorite columns that she's written. I have so many annotations in this book. I think this is such a beautiful story. It talks about love, it talks about relationships, familial relationships, friendships, it talks about sex life and body positivity and just being yourself and being a young woman in your 20s. And there's also some articles that were written by guys that she gives advice to. I love Dolly Alderton's work. I actually really enjoyed this book a lot more than I enjoyed Everything I Know About Love. I gave this a 4-star, and yeah, I definitely, if you're going to read any book out of the books that I read this month, I would say read this book and read this book, that kind of tells you what type of reading mood I'm in right now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know what books you read this month and what books are on your radar for next month, and I will see you in my next video.